that trophy husband thing. Kidding.
We were more about having fun.
I know, that's funny. It was fun.
Okay, I think we're live. Lindsay worked on the board appointments, and that new sheet in front of you is what she's put together, so you want to check and make sure there's, and I know it's not all correct yet, because I think we've got to make some changes yet, but just make sure that your intentions are on there correctly.
Was eminent domain on here?
No, that's still in that book.
Okay.
I did make some phone calls on that too, so.
Yeah, I called Marissa, she never called me back, and then I got a hold of her later, she said you'd already talked to her. Or Marisa, she goes.
Yeah. Sorry if we doubled up on that one, but
That's
I
okay.
saw her,
Dan
so.
said absolutely not.
Who?
Able.
It's not on that one.
So we need somebody else from,
Yeah, it could, who else?
we'll discuss it
Yeah, we'll
Thursday.
discuss it when it's time, I guess.
Morning, Julie.
Good morning. I did attend that NICOG meeting last night, and it was interesting.
It was hard. Well, it's 9 o'clock. Say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll consider for approval of the minutes and agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
I can second that.
I got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Smith to approve the minutes and agenda as presented. All those opposed, or all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9 a.m., Julie Swenson, treasurer, to discuss with possible action, semi-annual report.
Okay, here are some copies that I have for you guys to look over. I did email them to you as well. And then if it's approved, Terry, I just need signatures and stuff.
It makes for great reading when you're sitting in line trying to unload drains.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in there. But I just thought with Susan coming on new, it'd be kind of nice for her to have it a little early. Maybe the two of you appreciate it earlier too, so you can look over it.
I didn't realize that all the different laterals and every one was a line item.
All our drainage, yes.
Mhm.
Yep, and we have a lot of it.
I was just amazed when I read through them
Mhm.
when you sent them. Wow. So you just always list them all, and then if there's been no action on it, it just is a zero, right?
Right.
Always. I mean, it's just.
Yep.
So you list them
So-
all, always.
Yep, they're all on a line item.
Mhm.
And then it'll show that, you know, where it was sitting, what's outstanding. And a lot of our drainage, dollars we're investing as stamped warrants. So then Chris will call them in when the work has been done and paid. So she'll bill it, and then when they're paid, then she'll call in our stamped warrants.
Okay.
So, yeah, each drain has its own line item. And it just kind of shows you the activity, because on your main report, I take the main total of all the drainage on the bottom. Yeah, here, so, oh, no, that's a cash investment, so on the treasurer's report. There's another side to this. What did I do? Okay, no, this is your full report, so on this one here, it shows, like I've done drainage totals.
Oh, I see.
And so if you were questioning where I was getting those totals, on your sheet
they're
here,
here.
yeah,
So those are the totals, and then that's the outstanding.
mhm, that's what we have in stamped warrants.
Oh,
So here it shows the total drainage across the bottom. And so just by giving you the sheet of all the drainage, it equals that total there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Julie's sitting here.
Where, what category is like, local option sales tax?
That's listed in here. It's one of these. 30-0030 local. Yep. And that's the 75-25%.
75-25.
We divide it between 25% and then 75%, so we get like 25%. 75% goes to,
Cities. Now,
And-
is that a portion on a per capita basis, or it's just that agreement and then it's per capita in the cities?
Are you talking about loss?
Yeah.
That just goes to the county. Part of it goes
This is
to
ours, yeah.
rural basic and part of it goes to general basic.
So what we show here is everything to the county? Okay. So the number you're talking about separate from this?
Yep,
This
it's-
is our 25%?
it's it's the total amount that we bring in. And then the 25 and 75 is local and
We
general.
make a
and-
transfer at the end of the year.
Okay.
It cleans out that lost fund.
So that would be the total you're seeing that we received for 6 months.
Anybody have any questions on this?
I know it's a lot to look at, but I just thought it'd be some good information and show you where the totals are coming from.
Is this something that you'll go over more on, is it Monday that we have?
Well, it'll be a part of our budget discussions, what revenues have been. It'll be in our books, how we're doing for this part of the year so far, estimates, things like that.
More vehicle licenses that go through this county add up to 2 million.
That would be considered your state and county dollars.
No, it's got retained by county 68,000
Yep.
and 1.9 million. It says a significant percent of vehicles when we pick it up.
Are people able, from Hancock County, able to get their licenses up here or not?
We've had a few exceptional cases come in, but we're supposed to stay by county yet.
I was gonna say, I would have thought it would have been county.
We are by county, but there's some people that have medical issues that can't travel, and they're closer to us than Hancock County.
So they live in Forest City, but they're in Hancock County.
Yep, so we bring those in first thing in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And our driver's license supervisor was here yesterday, and she said that we still have to stay by appointments. That's just the way it's gonna be. Which is unfortunate, because we used to get a lot of other counties coming in. It was easier for them to come to us, so our revenue will be down.
A lot more people probably renewed online.
A lot of people are doing online.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's semi-annual report.
I'll second that.
Got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Smith to approve the semi-annual treasurer's report. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Set public hearing for Eagle Pork 15 site.
You're gonna sign, Terry, and then we'll have to get it just stamped, and all three of you sign it. Thank you. Do you have the stamp, Bill? You'll have to stamp.
Oh,
So there's two different stamps that you use. What's the difference between the,
Received and approved.
just the, okay,
So if somebody has something about personnel that that somebody's leaving or somebody's coming, we don't approve it, we just have it received. That's their control. We try to have the right date on it. Once in a while, we have a little on.
yeah, it's tough when the letters are, the numbers are in there backwards when you're looking at them, you know, and it just gets the guy so confused.
Numbers are hard, Bill.
But you see, I got it right. On my first try, I
I
got it
think,
right. Oh,
Terry's
Terry's got, yeah. I don't have to do that anymore.
No, you don't.
I would respectfully request the county attorney to not get those started.
Probably not a bad idea.
Okay, and then I need Carla's signature, and then I'll leave you.
So this is that I'm signing, that I say that it's correct, and I haven't had a chance to look at it, so can I sign it later?
Sure,
Okay.
thank you.
Can you leave a copy on my desk or something so
Yeah.
that I, okay, thank you.
Okay, public hearing for Eagle Court 15 site. Where's this one at?
It is Logan, section 22. So Susan, you'll get your first hand at
Matrix.
the Matrix. February 2nd is what I have for a date.
National holidays,
February 2nd?
Groundhog's Day.
Oh.
is that just me here?
Usually out there.
Yeah, you usually meet the DNR guy and the landowner out at the site, and then you'll go through the matrix.
And usually the person that's affiliated, whichever, whether it's Christensen or whoever is doing it.
If you want, Andy Buffington does it for Hancock County, and he might be a good reference to call and maybe even just have him out there with you the first time you do it.
Okay.
I think Steve Anderson's done it too for
For Cassuth, yeah.
Yeah,
because he had questions on the one over by the barn.
things that they had to change too.
What part of the section was this one in?
I don't remember that off the top of my head. There's only so much room in there, Terry.
That's where Teresa was. So I'm guessing it's either the southeast or the northwest. That'd be right next to Bidley, so it must be down here.
How far from Vingy is it?
Upper corner of the section is Vinci. Just across the road.
And Susan, if you want to stop in my office after the meeting, I'll make a copy of the whole matrix for you.
Okay,
I tried to send it to you by email, but it was too big, it wouldn't go. So,
all right. So you're meeting with them to make sure that they are complying.
That their scoring is accurate, because they fill out the scoring themselves, and then the DNR, and you will look at it and say, is that correct? And
Okay. And the representative from the DNR is,
I don't know that yet. They usually call and they'll ask for your cell phone number.
last time
and
it was
then-
a Bradford.
Brattrud, and then once it was a woman. I can't remember.
But the last one I know I had with shutters, it was a Bradford. You can write this down, if I show it to you.
that they'll contact me? No,
They'll contact me and then I'll give them your cell phone number.
okay.
They call and ask which supervisor.
That's what I had.
Sheila Kenny, I had the last name.
And when was that? A couple of years ago.
That's DNR then.
Yeah. I guess if you want to just contact him to see if he knows.
Well, it was before I had this phone anyway, because it doesn't have a contact in it, or the last time I talked to him.
Just call from the office maybe. So when does this public hearing need to be? By,
February 2nd?
oh, the hearing is February 2nd.
Yeah, public hearing, February.
I thought that this is February 2nd.
No.
Oh,
That's not set. They'll call when they want to do the visit or the,
Probably be before that,
yes.
or it should be.
so do we want to do this at 9:30?
That's fine.
You want to make that motion to?
I'll make the motion for the public hearing for Eagle Fork 15 site at 9:30
February
on
2nd.
February 2nd.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Got a motion from Smith and a second from Jensvold to set the public hearing for Eagle Fork 15 site for February 2nd at 9:30 a.m. All those in favor say aye.
Right.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Usually when something's going on in one of our districts, if it's, then we allow the person, the supervisor from that district to make the motion. Really doesn't make a lot of difference in the big pictures. It's,
Well, it's, you want to make sure we're doing the right thing for their district, so.
yeah.
Board appointments, were you here for a special thing?
COVID policies.
Maybe we should just skip to the COVID policy now. I don't know how long the board appointments.
Okay, that's why I kind of wondered. I wasn't sure what time to come down. So with the COVID policies, I don't know if you saw that the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, or whatever it's called, expired December 31st. They haven't extended that or renewed that, which just changes the county's obligation. The county no longer has to provide paid FMLA for COVID reasons effective January 1. That doesn't mean we can't. I mean, obviously, we can provide more, or we can provide that leave if we want to. I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention to give it some thought. Don't need to make a decision today necessarily. We have, so there, as you guys know, there have been multiple policies over the last 9-10 months. So we have the comprehensive policy. That's the one Galloway drafted, and that was the one that went hand in hand with the Families First Act. And that expired the 31st, our policy did, along with the legislation. But then you guys had adopted a temporary policy for use of sick leave, et cetera, during COVID. that's still in place. That's that 160 hours that you had given above and beyond the 80 hours under FMLA. That's still in place. So one of the main differences between the two, though, is that new policy only applies to full-time employees and not part-time employees, which is fine if that's how you want it to be. The prior policy, the comprehensive policy, applied to both. That was one of the main differences in the two policies. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention if there's any changes you want to make or anything you want to revisit.
And that part was to do it with sick leave, you said, or?
Yeah, well, you had, so in the newer policy, you had said, that employees, full-time employees aren't required to use their accrued sick leave, but will remain on paid status for up to 160 hours above and beyond the 80 hours that was allotted under the Families First Act. Again, we're not required to do that, but that's something you wanted to do, and that's totally fine. I just want to make sure, I kind of want to put something together because we have so many policies out there. If we could just kind of condense it into one
It would be nice if it was just
clear.
over.
Say that again.
If it was just over, we could go back to square.
Agreed, yeah, yes, that would be
Well,
very
there-
nice.
There are some counties that are not renewing any type of policy that have canceled everything come
January 1.
January, yeah.
So obviously, if somebody needs to be gone for COVID reasons, even if we didn't have a policy in place, it falls under FMLA. They'd be allowed to take the time off and not get fired, but of course, our normal FMLA, you don't get paid for. Where the Families First Act had required that we pay employees up to 80 hours for COVID leave. Your typical FMLA leave, you don't get paid for, you have to use your sick leave or whatever, but it guarantees that you won't be terminated because of that reason, because of the reason you're gone or whatever. So again, totally up to you guys how you want to do it, but I do think we need to probably take some direction and figure out what do we want to do starting, well now maybe even retroactive January 1st. I don't know if we've had, I have one employee that would potentially be affected by it, who is a part-time employee. And so because the comprehensive leave expired, the Families First leave expired December 31st, and our other policy doesn't cover part-time employees, it wouldn't cover this employee, which is fine, but there is a circumstance where it's going to make a difference on how you move forward on that, if that makes sense.
Also, the Forest City daycare is shut down right now, so there's 2 employees at the county, at least 2 employees at the county that are gone with their kids because the daycare shut down.
And are they full-time employees?
Yes,
So they would fall under our current,
current policy.
yeah,
If we keep it in force.
correct.
So our policy's still in place, right?
Are one of them, so they're the 2 separate policies. The one that went hand in hand with the Families First Response Act, that was the 80 hours of FMLA leave paid, that is expired. That expired on December 31st with the legislation expiring, since that didn't get extended. But then you guys had adopted a separate policy to give employees 160 hours above and beyond the 80, that's still in place. So technically under that, they don't have the 80 from Families First, but they have the 160 hours from you guys. But it only applies to full-time employees. And you had narrowed down some of the circumstance. I mean, obviously there's requirements. They have to have a positive test or seek medical treatment. Or I think with the daycare, they just have to show that they exhausted other means, if I remember right, is how that was put in there. So if they've got a stay-at-home husband or wife, there's no reason for the spouse to take off work if somebody is at home taking care of their child because daycare is closed, whatever circumstance it might be. So the policies are a little bit different, but like I said, the main difference is probably that it doesn't apply to part-time employees. And frankly, I probably have the only part-time employee that it might apply to as far as the daycare circumstance goes, but
At this point,
yeah.
I don't know about public health.
Yeah.
We have some that are,
Is there any possibility these people that are at home with their kids, is there any way they can do some work from home?
My employee did. So she was able to work a couple hours a day, but of course she's got a 3-year-old running around, you can only work so much. Her normal work day is only 6 hours, and she only works 3 days a week, so she's Monday, Tuesday, Fridays, 8:30 to 2:30 usually. So yeah, we were able to send her home with a laptop, and she could do as much as she could from there. And then she sends letters out to victims and stuff, so she was able to send those to our office, and then I just sign on her behalf, so we can, I mean, she's pretty efficient as far as that goes. But she did still miss out on several hours, just frankly because she was home with her kids, and that's hard to work 6 hours straight when you're home with your kids, but. And under that policy, they're required to work from home if they have that opportunity.
I have 3 part-time employees over here that would affect too, you guys.
Okay.
2 of them can do virtual calls to their clients when they see their families, but the other one would be my sanitarian. And you can't kind of do a water test from home.
And I don't know that that's a huge issue, because in that, if we leave the policy as it is, I mean, it says you have to work from home if you're able. So if you're not able, you're not able. I know some of the offices, like I assume Julie's office, you can do much from home. Certain offices you can do more than others, so. But like I said, you don't have to make any decision today. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I haven't seen much in the news about the fact that that expired and what employers are doing about it.
Or they've got other focuses.
Yeah, so,
The auditors had a survey out there, and probably 90% extended it for 1 to 3 months.
and that's, yeah, you could extend it like on a month-to-month basis, extend it for 30 days at a time. Obviously, we know the situation is changing all the time. We don't know when it's going to resolve, but that would probably be a good option if you are going to extend it to do, like, we'll review it every 30 days. That doesn't mean you couldn't review it sooner if something needed to be reviewed, but.
I guess I'd be inclined to be interested in doing a month-by-month thing.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
That way we're not tied into something too long, and
Do that, and means we've got some that are, if we make it retroactive, then it's gonna
then
possibly affect a couple, so.
would that be both policies then? The original and the,
I would want to probably look through the original policy. That was the longer one. There's probably stuff that wouldn't apply in there now.
does it reference the act?
Right, and that's the one that had like the travel restrictions, which we got rid of a while back. It's been amended several times, but I think it might be cleaner to actually just work off of the newer policy where you guys gave the 160 hours. And I can go through that old one and see if there's anything that should be included in that, but.
So I guess my question to you two, what are your thoughts on the part-time? Because they're excluded in the new policy.
Well, 160 hours on a part-time would go a long, long ways.
And you could do, say, 80 hours for a part-time employee. I mean, you could differentiate
That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
but
is that.
right now, they're not included in the.
at all, right?
But that can be reduced to anything. I mean, you could have it be 40 hours.
And it would typically be, I think in the original policy, it was based on your average number of hours per week for the last 6 months or something like that. I mean, so you can base it on their average, because with part-time, everybody works a little bit differently. Like, my employee is usually 18 hours a week, so that's what she would be entitled to. She can't come in and take, of course, 40 hours that week because she has 160 hours to burn. It'd have to be based on her normal working hours.
And hopefully she only has to take part of the hours.
Exactly, right. She wouldn't be taking hours. I mean, yeah, she would subtract anything she actually worked and only be taking a handful of hours that she wasn't able to actually work.
So what's your thoughts?
I think it should be looked at monthly. At most.
How about the including of part-time at a lower hour?
Now, they are employees, you hate to see anybody suffer for this, no matter what your position is on it.
We have a lot of positions in this county that are part-time that really are in key positions.
And it's tough to get part-time employees.
No, yeah, it's,
Most people are looking for full-time work, so
full-time with some benefits on it,
yeah, right,
You get a good part-time employee, I hate to
lose them because of
lose them
something
because of
like this.
something like this, I guess.
I guess would it make sense to put part-time with 80 hours?
Yeah.
Much the same as the full-time at 160. What do you think about that? She had to draw that up,
And review it monthly.
just like we are with the tax sale things.
Oh, yeah,
I think that makes sense. If it's affecting 4 employees, do you think 3 on,
well, for
More
the,
that we know of.
yeah, yeah,
There are more, probably.
yeah, I'm sure. Probably more that we don't think of.
Yeah,
And secondary roads has got a couple of guys that fill in or whatever, but they're not really considered part-time employees. And most of those guys there are full-time.
Yeah. And county conservation are mostly all full-time,
You know,
just seasonals in the summer.
so it's probably just the 4.
so I think it'd be interesting to see, not necessarily who, but how many people end up needing to use it
Utilizing it, yeah.
each.
I think daycare's been the big thing,
yeah.
frankly,
'Cause
lately.
well, and, Eric downstairs also called me. So I know there's 4 right now that are utilizing the daycare policy.
And the, I'm guessing quarantine affects some employees too.
Right,
Kid gets quarantined from school.
yeah. Yeah, same thing. They wouldn't be able to go to daycare, obviously, under that circumstance. And
So was Hanson's a scheduled shutdown?
No, they had COVID,
Or did-
so they had to shut down. They had too many rooms with it, I think was the case.
I see that there's been some college kids that are off till the end of this month that have been offering to help out people, so that's good.
yeah, and I'm sure the quarantine thing is still in play. I mean, we were quarantined for a while. I mean, the policy doesn't affect me, but I'm sure it's happening quite a bit still.
Yeah, we had one in my office that was, her daughter was quarantined, so then they're all home for,
Right.
You know, we're in unprecedented times, I think we have to support.
So I guess
So-
if you wanna draw it up that
Yeah,
way.
and then I can bring it to you next week. Do you want it to be retroactive to the start of the year, which is when that other policy would have expired, or
That's my opinion.
I can draw it that way, and of course you can make changes if you change your mind between now and.
If we don't, the other one will have to stop.
Right, at least for that time, yeah.
Might as well.
Retroactive.
you're gonna put in the part about the average hours. of
Yeah, I
the
can do
work.
that. Trying to think if my employee's been here 6 months. How far back do you wanna look for the average hours on a part-time employee?
6 months is fair.
I think it's fine. My employee, I don't know that she's been here 6 months, so I don't know if you would factor in the 0-hour
6 months or
weeks.
however long they've been here.
Okay,
Let's go with that.
if less.
Or the full extent of how long they've been here.
Yeah.
It hasn't been 6 months.
Because the 6 months, well, the only other thought would be is if you're talking, so I don't know how conservation is set up, but if they have seasonal employees that worked in the last 6 months, my only thought is I wouldn't want them, I don't want to draw the policy where there's some weird loophole that somebody that's not actively working. But I could put something like that in there, that you have to have actively worked in the last
I wonder
30
if their-
days or something.
If their employment was contractual for a certain number of
Yeah, I'm not
months.
sure how that, I've never looked at those.
Might wanna talk to conservation.
Yeah, I could talk to her after,
If they're on contract for just so many months,
then it wouldn't matter.
and see if he has any current part-time.
I don't think he does,
I don't think so.
and I don't think they're on contract, they're just considered a seasonal employee, so.
other questions on that?
I don't think so. If I get into that old policy again and see something that I think needs to be addressed, I'll just put it in there and then I'll be here to talk about it next week and I'll make sure to point out the
Strike it.
specific, right, exactly. Change it however you want, so that'll at least give me a starting point, so. I don't think there was anything else.
The only thing is the magistrate board, we're still confused about how many people we need to appoint.
Let me look. I think you need to appoint two, but let me go quick. Cause did they give you one attorney
She
name?
gave me one name.
Why don't you look, I'm gonna have, public health. Give you-
Yep.
Julie, do you have anything for us for COVID?
Do you want a little update what's going on that we know as,
We did.
okay, you know, all the vaccine that we get in our county has to come funneling through us, and then we distribute it out to like our partners, like the, pharmacy and the clinic and stuff like that. So we were allotted for the very first shot, 200 doses, and we, gave 30 to the clinic to take care of their people out there, so their nurses gave their shots out there to their people, to their healthcare workers, let's say that. And as of yesterday, we have given our first 170 doses. So our 200 doses that we were allotted for that very first shot of Moderna is done. And then yesterday we got a HON alert that our allocation for the second round of doses for those first group of people that we had to accept today. So we're slowly but surely going there, and right now we're still in phase 1, which is the healthcare workers and long-term care residents, and that will go through the month of January, and we believe that phase 1B will be opening up the first or second week in February, which will include, as of yesterday now, it was 75 years and older and the frontline essential workers, which they still are working on the definition of that because each state is different with their allocation of what they get.
Some states they haven't gotten their vaccines to the people in time because they had it too restricted and they had to destroy a whole bunch of their vaccines.
Yeah. Yeah, New York had hundreds of doses that went bad. We don't want that.
No, so with the Moderna, when we take it out of the freezer, it is and puncture the vial. It is only good for 6 hours, and there's only 10 doses in each vial. So when Allison has been awesome getting everything lined up and with our licensed healthcare workers here in the county to get vaccines and stuff. She makes sure she has 10 people, so we are not wasting a dose at all, because every dose has to be accounted for through the state.
That is good.
Yeah.
And I looked on the CDC website for data yesterday, and we're ranked 16th, I think, in the nation. 16th from the top for distribution. What's the difference between distributed and administered?
Distributed is,
Yeah, distributed is the one, it gets distributed to us and then we distribute it out, and administration is when you actually get the vaccine.
Okay. I think yesterday we dropped to like 18th on administered.
The state did?
Yeah, they just rank all the states per 100,000 population. So it's kind of a fair way to look at it. West Virginia and South Dakota are on the top.
For administration?
Yeah. If you just go to the CDC website, there's a data.
Yeah, after yesterday we talked, Terry, I did go look at some of that because I wanted a little more guidance, because I think I told you yesterday the Iowa Infectious Disease Advisory Council met yesterday at 2:30, and they were supposed to have a more definition of what the frontline essential workers were, because the CDC has like a broad of what it is, and like each state is different. So they were meeting to see how to define those broader categories for us. And they did the same thing with the healthcare workers for us. But then they also say, don't waste a dose. So if you have to find someone to give that shot to, you need to find someone to give that shot to.
So you have your list.
Yep.
So,
I know we get phone calls every day. Yesterday being Monday and crazy after all the news and stuff. Everybody was anxious, and most people that have called, they really want it and want to know when the next phase will be opened. And to help with all the traffic of the phone calls, I have had Eric put on the Winnebago County webpage a section for COVID information, and as soon as I know, I pass it on to Eric, and he puts it on there. And then we have our Facebook page, and he puts it also on the county Facebook page. And then we've been keeping in track with KIOW, with AJ and those guys out there.
all right. Anything else?
I think our numbers are going down, except I've already talked about the daycare that happened yesterday, so we're just doing our best we can and to keep everybody healthy.
Since your department's inundated by workload, are you having problems with employees getting rid of or being able to use their vacation time?
Yes. Allison right now is very close. She took yesterday off as a vacation, but we still had to call and talk to each other about stuff because we had to. I mean, it's just, so she worked part of the day. So yeah, she is very close to her 240, and I have a couple nurses too because they're out now doing shots. We have no more remote hours because most everyone in my office is vaccinated except for myself and another nurse because we're giving plasma, and we cannot get the shot and still give plasma. So, but most everyone in our office here has been vaccinated, so we stopped the remote hours as of January 4. So they are out and about, and they're working, like, when we do go and give shots, they've gone to the ambulance crews, the EMS. They'll go at night and do those clinics because that's when they can meet with all 10 of those people.
So do people get the vaccination if they've already had COVID?
Yes, you can. Mm-hmm.
Is it recommended or suggested or?
I think it's how they're saying is any healthcare worker right now can get it, but they're saying anyone can get it. But like for myself and my other nurse, since we have the COVID and we have the natural antibodies, that's better for the plasma, if that makes sense. So they advise people who had it and are giving plasma not to get it if they still want to continue to give plasma until that natural antibody is out of your system. But now if you've had COVID and you've received plasma, you cannot get the shot until up to 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah, when we meet with these people, we have there's like two pieces of paper they have to fill out, and then they have to fill out all the information that we can enter into IRIS, because that has to be done within 24 hours so people know who's gotten the shots and for the allocation and all that stuff.
Is it 51 questions?
Pretty close.
I've heard that, New York is online and older people are required to fill it out online and it's just mind-boggling.
Oh, wonderful.
I will say, my sister lives in Oklahoma and she was told that she needed to register online to get in line and an appointment to get her shot. And she said that she didn't understand how all the elderly were gonna be able to do that.
I was just gonna say, you're taking the most at-risk category and putting them in a,
Fine.
yeah, and that's,
That's what I was wondering, do we need people out there helping them fill that out?
Tomorrow we meet with Andy again in Hancock County for our, when we can jump into the big, and get into the bigger phases and how we're gonna go about and distribute that because, a lot of our people that have called are older and do not have, internet access or know how to. And so I do not believe that's how we are going to do that. Some of the our elderly in our county, their family members has reached out to us and asked us, and we did tell them, call back in 3 weeks. We'll know more, And they would help their family members. But I think when we get our clinics, we're going to have some volunteers to help us when we have a mass clinic. Because after you get that shot, you have to sit and wait for 15 minutes to see if you have an adverse effect or whatever, So,
I just fear there are people that are just gonna give up on getting the vaccine because it's too invasive or,
I don't have that feeling yet, not with the calls that we have gotten. When they come and get a flu shot, they have to fill out a piece of paper for us for a flu shot.
yeah.
So, I don't feel that. There's a lot that are very anxious and want this so they can become protected and to go see their grandchildren and be out and not be confined to home.
All right. You guys have more questions on this? All right.
As for the vacation that you asked about, Terry, I have a Board of Health meeting on Friday and I was gonna bring that up to them and talk to them, because when we get probably into the bigger clinics and have to do this, that might be harder for us to just tell the girls, oh, yep, you need to take a vacation day or this and that. Would there be any chance that they would be able to carry that over or maybe get some of it paid out so they don't lose their vacation? That's just a thought. You guys, that's what I was just going to bring up to my Board of Health on Friday.
How have we dealt with this in the past, Carla?
You use it or you lose it.
Yeah.
My thought, off the top of my head, is maybe add it to her policy that for public health only,
Yeah.
that we pay out their vacation so they don't lose it for, 30 days or whatever.
Is that an acceptable expense for COVID?
I think most of I think it's, yeah.
because this situation is brought up purely by this, so
Yeah.
it's,
And they are the essential workers that are dealing with it, so.
yeah, and they've been out there putting themselves at risk in a sense, and, to take their vacation away because of it, just because it seemed very, in a normal situation, you use it, lose it thing, that's the way it's gotta be, but this isn't normal.
And unfortunately, they may lose vacation, but if they can at least get paid out for it,
Gives them a little extra reward for,
right?
Like I said, I think if we make it a temporary thing for public health only, I think,
yeah.
I don't see a problem with it. If you want me to, I can talk to Kelsey about it and,
I think that makes great sense.
okay.
Absolutely.
We'll work on that, Julie.
Okay. And I'll still put it on the agenda for Friday then, and say that you guys are working on it, and I'll get back to the board then after that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else for COVID? Hearing none. We have Scott in the room, so we will just go on to number 6. Scott Minders, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
Morning.
Morning.
I thought I'd talk through with you guys our equipment situation and the message I sent you guys this week. I can make you a copy of it unless you guys have looked through
The one thing I was thinking that it would be nice to have along with that would be the inventory list.
inventory.
So we can look at the whole thing. I know you sent it out a while ago. I have to dig it out. I didn't print it out then, I don't think.
Sure. Seems like we,
It
Once-
was like
once
in
a year
the
or
fall or
so.
something, you sent it to us.
okay,
I don't think I have a
you
print.
want equipment list and hour meters and.
Right, miles, hours, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't read your email on it. What are, did you all read it? Email? About the equipment?
I think I read that. I remember opening it up,
Maybe,
but I can't remember,
maybe it'd be good to have copies of,
trying to remember, I know I opened it, and then I either didn't have time to read it, or I don't remember reading it.
they just spelled out the
No,
trucks and
yeah,
the Oshkosh and.
yeah, I looked at some of them, yeah.
I looked at it, I'm not gonna say I understood it.
It's a lot to cover.
It is.
Yeah, I understood most of it. There was a little bit of gray area that I was trying to figure out. I know I caught on there that you were gonna do an auction this spring, correct?
Correct. Well, that's the plan. All right, so every year we'll try to turn over some of our equipment, our fleet, so that, we always have equipment that is fully functional and able to do what we need. Our fleet size is pretty much driven by snow removal size, so we have, for paved routes, a truck for every one of the 7 routes, and 2 standbys in case one breaks down, or 2 break down. We have a Oshkosh, our maintainer, for every one of the 10 gravel routes, plus 2 standbys. If it's been a couple of years since our last auction, we'll have accumulated a few extra pickups, maintainers, or trucks. And historically, we've had auctions every 2 or 3 years to try to liquidate that equipment. Every now and then, we will trade a piece of equipment if it makes sense. In this case, we have a few extra items that need to be liquidated. So we are planning to have an auction this spring to reduce us back down to our optimal size fleet.
Bill, we have a copy for you.
Oh, man, I'm actually looking at it.
I was wondering,
I did look at it.
We also have had a fire in one of our Oshkosh plow trucks, 1989 Oshkosh plow truck. They're not worth very much anymore. So insurance has totaled that vehicle, and I haven't seen the final number, but we're expecting about $22,000 for it. And then one other subject that's rolled into this is we had purchased 2 cat trucks back in 2015, and soon after they stopped making them, and that turned out to be not so great of a purchase. We had a lot of problems with the first one, and we traded that off for a maintainer here a year ago. And it seems as though the second one will exhibit the same problems, kind of in a lagging effect. So we expect this one to have more trouble too, and so we're planning to trade it off sooner while it has some value yet, and reuse that snow equipment on a new plow truck. So in this upcoming, I don't know, six months or so, we'd like to purchase a new pickup to replace some of our older ones, a new plow truck, just the chassis and the box, reuse the snow equipment, and then one more maintainer so we are out from under all of our Oshkosh plow trucks. The plow truck and the maintainer I have included in my budget proposal that we'll talk through here next week. And the pickup, I'd like to basically trade the revenue from the Oshkosh and make the purchase of the pickup. It won't quite cover it all, but we'll also have that auction revenue that we haven't programmed in our budget as well.
So you'll have to do an amendment.
Well, we can do it one of two ways. We can then do an amendment to precisely match the budget total with the expenditure total, or the way our equipment operation budget looks right now will be under because the winter's been cooperating. So far, that we would overspend our budget line by the amount of the pickup. And like many of our items, we can't ever predict exactly how much we're going to spend, so we'll overspend some, underspend others, and make sure we stay within the entire budget. An amendment in this case would just be clerical at that point.
In the new maintainer and trade-off cat truck, under one, items by 2B, or 2, yeah. What did you figure for about a trade-in value on the truck? What's the maintainer gonna run altogether?
The last one we got 60,000 on trade, and so the last maintainer also had some automatic grade control feature that we wouldn't necessarily use on all of our machines, but it's good to have some in the fleet that have that. That's the first one we've ordered with that, and it's like a $10,000 option.
Do you think it was worth it then
For what they're doing with it, yes. But they'll use that maintainer to do like the road reshaping with the reclaimer and everything. And when you're rolling all over the place, the blade will stay at the perfect percentage that you're looking for. So it's really beneficial for getting a good product on the roads that we reclaim and reshape. But it's not something you'd necessarily use when you're just blading end in like typical maintenance. So we likely wouldn't include that option, so maybe we can save a few bucks on the maintainer. So maybe $350 for a maintainer, and maybe not quite as much for that truck, I'm not sure. So my best estimate at this point is $305 for the total transaction. We're meeting with our cat salesman today too, so we're working hard to try to shore up those numbers.
And the plow truck, that includes the box, sander, and plow, or not?
We would buy the chassis and have the box outfit onto it. That's what we would buy. The cat truck, the snow equipment, the belly blade, the front skiff, the sander, wing blade, pre-wet, all would come off. We'd tune it up, repaint it, and then outfit it back onto that new truck chassis, just like we've done with the last one. And that one's now quite close to completion, and I think they're happy with how that has turned out.
I saw one of your tag units for behind the trucks was behind the pickup the other day without a box on it. Is that just getting repaired in the frame, or is it, or what's, I didn't know.
Tell me what you were saying?
Well, you know, the tags that go behind the trucks, the tag
Oh, the truck trailers.
that we made.
Yep.
I didn't know, are we building building another one, or is this something that's just being repaired without the box on it, or?
I think it's kind of a Frankenstein situation where we took a box from one and built a new frame and are putting it back together, I believe. Those pups are hard to keep track of because they all look
So
exactly
we're
the
still
same.
building frames then?
Oh, yeah, yep, and I think we have, either have 7 or 8 pups and we've built all but 2 of them, I believe.
Just a little historical, we've proven we can build the frames for those trailers, and they'd be a better product than what you can buy. They just handle better and down the road.
When I started, they were having trouble with, well, the frame would have cracks in it, and no matter how many times you repair it, it just would always show up again. So they kind of redesigned them so they have pivot points that eliminate some of the stress on the tongue, I guess. Now a tongue kind of like a hay rack tongue is, it, you know, goes up and down and the wheels are underneath of the box so the weight isn't distributed forward to the truck, it's all on the axles of the trailer.
And they still have to go through the process of getting it certified through the DOT and
Yeah,
it's inspected. Been a good thing for us.
quite fortunate to have guys talented with welding, fabrication, and plumbing and electrical, and seems to be going quite well.
Any questions for Scott on this?
There's a lot on here, I'll take whatever you got for me. The results of this is, I'm hoping, a little bit different than we've done in the past, is that we can approve some purchases ahead of the budget approval, so that we can have things ordered and ready to pay for once the budget year starts. The truck is the first thing. We had about 9 months lead time on it last time, so if we were to get it approved soon, then we could get it ordered and then hopefully have it soon in July or August and pay for it then in the new budget year. And we won't have to be amending money forward because, you know, the equipment's not ready and the money's sitting there, which is the case, you know, this year, or last year, I should say. If we approve the truck purchase, it's less than half of the budget that I'm proposing. I would think that's a safe number to go ahead and approve. And then once we have the full budget approved, then we can order the maintainer if that all works out. And then the pickup also soon. So if you guys are amenable to that, I would get quotes finalized and brought up, and I could maybe even have them to you as early as next week to either approve or talk through in further detail.
What do you expect to get for this equipment that you're going to sell?
So based on our prior auction results, we haven't sold an Oshkosh in quite a while, but they're worth maybe scrap price plus a little bit more depending on how many bidders you got. But we're planning to also have an online component to our auction, hopefully to expand our bidding pool. But I've seen a lot of them go for $6,000-7,000.
With all the equipment on it?
Yeah, and I don't know if it makes too big a difference, to be honest. The plow trucks, we plan to strip down, repaint, repair any box rust or anything like that, and sell them as dump trucks, basically. And hopefully, those bring somewhere between 25 and 30,000, maybe 35. I don't think we've had quite as many miles on some of our more recent truck sales that we've gotten rid of. The pickups generally bring 15 to 5,000 maybe. The ones we got here are pretty rusty and ugly looking, but they would still have some life in them.
Almost always get
Oh yeah.
1,500 to 2,500 for a four-wheel drive that runs. I assume they're all four-wheel.
Oh, they're running, yeah. 4-wheel drives are running. And the service truck, that's a little bit of a question mark, but Operational service truck, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 20,000 maybe. That's hard for me to know. Yeah, our mechanics would maybe have a better idea.
Does it have a hoist on it?
It does. That's our only service truck that we had for the, before we got our new service truck here a couple of years ago. Between all those items and the bridge lumber and extra parts and pieces and things that we sell, maybe we'll have 80 to 100,000 in auction proceeds total. That's maybe optimistic.
You have a lot of bridge planking, so.
We have a decent amount. It isn't like some of those years in the past where we did 10 bridges a year, but there's a pretty good stack back there.
How about culverts? Do you have much for culverts there?
It's not often we would, get a culvert out of the ground intact in good condition and back to the yard, and it's worth saving.
2 of them sitting in Thompson, it seems like.
Big ones, or?
Big ones.
Yeah, and if they're good enough too, we'll try to use them. And sometimes we use them for things like run around channel if we're putting in a bridge, so we're taking in and out, getting beat up. There's not a lot of cases where somebody would want to buy our junk culverts for value, but we wouldn't want to use them for something. So it's not often we sell a lot of culverts. It was good enough for them. It's probably good enough for us to do something with it.
So they tried to buy something from me, they wanted it cheap, and I says, well, for that, I just keep it in case I need it.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and we're trying not to do too much of that and have a yard full of basically junk, but
Yeah,
we haul away quite a bit of scrap ahead of and after, most of the auctions and periodically through the year too.
so it's worth your effort to do it now.
Is it?
Scrap prices, it's up to, well, last I heard it was 130 a ton.
What's it been over the last 5 years?
Oh geez, it was last
It was over
spring, it was
200
down
at one
to
time.
30.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you got real high, China was buying up everything and then shipping it back. And then it dropped, the bottom dropped.
yeah, there was once I got 230 for a load, 230 a ton. And it was down, last spring it was down to 30. It's a $200 difference in the,
Yeah, that's
it's
about,
been a
sounds
few
about,
years, but
about like the market for hogs volatility wise.
yeah.
Is it possible, can we just take a break on this for a little bit? If you wanna go find those inventory sheets,
I could,
we'll talk about something else and come back to you.
sure, I'll see what I can do.
But I couldn't find it in my emails and I couldn't
Are
find
you
it.
just looking for maintainers, trucks and pickups, or?
Yeah, that one you've given us before, anything that goes on the road. I guess it included the excavators too.
Probably.
Yeah,
We got all of our like pumps and trailers and little dinky things.
I think it'd be good to have that. Well, the little stuff like that, I don't think we have to do, but
Let me see what I can put together.
my list is probably old, but I've got one at home.
yeah, I'm sure I do too, it's just not in.
I'm without Becky's help here, so I'll see what I can put together.
Oh, well,
I think I can get it.
Yeah, all right,
All right.
okay, so we'll table this till after a little bit. Let's go back to the board appointments. So what did she come up with on the magistrate?
We only need 2, so Dave Peterson, Tim Gertis, or Dave Anderson. You need to pick 2 out of those 3.
which 3 is it?
Tim Gertis, Dave Anderson, and Dave Peterson.
Alright.
You only need 2 out of those 3. Because they,
What was this committee called again?
County Judicial Magistrate Nomination Committee,
Oh,
it's on the first page. They only certified one attorney, which means we only need 2 people.
Well, I'd like to have Dave Peterson on there for sure, since he's dealt with them probably the most.
Yeah,
Kind of whittle it down between Dave Anderson and Tim Curtis. What's your thoughts on those?
I didn't know either one of them that well.
Tim used to work for the county.
Tim used
Yes.
to was a deputy, so that would make some sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I'm familiar with the name then.
Dave Anderson used to be the mayor of Mel's, but
I would think Brutus would be a good choice for this one.
you okay with that though? Okay.
They both got law enforcement experience, I guess, Dave and him. I think he would recognize that name. He hasn't been a deputy for quite a while though, has he?
No, it's been, I think he was just getting out of it when I got on board.
He lives
10
in
years.
Lake Mills.
He's a carpenter.
Oh, all right.
I think he's still carpentering, isn't he?
He is. His business is called
Sunrise.
Sunrise Construction.
Yeah.
Sun with S-O-N, not S-U-N. He does good work, and his brother lives here in town. And does
Which one's that?
fine carpentry work, interior carpentry work service.
Is that right?
I can't think of his name.
And his brother, Rob? Robert Burns, down in Hancock County Sheriff's Department.
Don't know. I guess I don't know.
Brothers or cousins.
I think cousins,
Okay.
from what I've heard.
I think both their dads were together in business in the carpentry business, both Norm Holland's house, Sheriff's house, Friesman's house, or Larson's house out there.
Jackie.
Let's see, what else? And I found out on the trustees of Logan that a couple of years ago, they changed the trustee. And I let Carla know that.
Oh,
They just hadn't updated the list yet. I think it was, the replacement for Throne was, Ron Penning. In the trustees.
that makes sense.
She's got it. To write it in. It looks like, how about the Lincoln trustee? Did we discuss that one? There's a blank there.
Yeah,
Let's see where- Lincoln, was it Benequami? It's not there.
yeah, Benekwame died.
Contact the clerk and so Melissa's the clerk.
I just talked to Cordell the other day too, but
Yeah.
it isn't really about it. Never thought of it.
You know, we'll find out from her if she's talked to Melissa or not.
Oh, that's
Melissa.
right, Melissa Dubay,
The clerk.
Oh,
yeah.
You didn't talk to anybody on the Lincoln trustee one, did you?
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
so you wanna talk to either Melissa or Cordell? See what they're doing there. To replace Bennett.
And who's doing the Logan?
That's already been done. They did it a couple of years ago.
Oh,
You got my email on the Logan one. didn't
Yeah.
you?
I can't remember who you said.
It's Ron Penning.
Okay.
so that's just appointed and approved. and-
It should have been on the list last year.
Oh.
So it's, Veterans Affairs is staying the same then?
Yes.
We got the updated county compensation. That's the- Any other questions we had on that?
So the only ones that the eminent domain. So for the first group, we took off Milford Helgeson and,
Replaced with his grandson, Matt.
okay, and who was the other, there was another one, wasn't there?
Vernon Gold,
Okay,
that one, Michael Johnson. John Johnson's son.
okay,
And then two owners of city property, to replace James Kingland, Kelly Gow, G-A-U,
okay,
and then group 3, real estate salespeople or brokers, to replace Scott Helgeson, Marissa Pepin.
That one of ours,
Yeah.
I think she's on board of review.
That's her name.
Yeah, she's on board of review.
okay,
I think the only one that didn't get filled is Elroy's,
Everybody's like under group 4.
the bakers and business people.
okay,
And that needs to be a Thompson area person.
Yep.
Be nice.
Marissa is Forest City, right?
Yes.
And Kelly is Lake Mills?
I don't know if it's Scarborough or Lake Mills, but she's,
Kelly lives just north of where I live.
yeah, but I don't know
Oh,
what her
right.
address is. Does it
It's,
matter?
well, I mean, mine's Leland, but it's, no. No, my phone is Lake Mills, but my address is Leland. I'm not sure when you cross the blacktop if it's that way. It's a mile north.
But her business is in Lake Mills,
Okay,
where she owns property there.
You can kind of consider Marisa sells property all over the county, really. She's got ties in Thompson, Lake Mills, Forest City.
and Matt Helgeson's Lake Mills, and Michael Johnson, is he Leland too?
He lives over south of where Volker and Gold used to. almost right on the county line of Worth. So way over south of Rice Lake. Let me find it here.
So like Mills?
Might be Forest City, I
It
don't
might
know.
be Forest City.
He works in Forest City for sure,
Okay,
for the bank.
well, that'd be good, because we don't have Forest City on that one.
What township would that be?
Center. Or it's either Mount Valley or Center. Oh, no, it might be Mount Valley.
Yeah. I believe so.
There it is. He's in section 13 of Mount Valley.
Oh, 13.
Yeah, there's a funny line there.
On the Walter Johnson Trust property?
I'm guessing since
Probably.
that's his grandpa.
Okay.
Probably.
So then, we just need to replace Elroy.
Dan said no.
Okay.
What, Nancy Waffle said?
Yeah, she probably, because she actually lives, she have a Thompson address or Forest City?
Forest City.
Probably.
I was called Rural Route 3, Forest City, when I lived just north of that.
She might be someone to ask.
Okay.
She works.
In town. No. where's
She works at the Buffalo Bank.
Buffalo
Yeah.
Bank. But
But,
they're,
you know, we were looking for someone
More from the Thompson.
from Thompson area, I guess, because
Yeah,
everybody's
She grew up
represented.
in Thompson, she knows all the Thompson people.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not like she's not a Thompson person. It
All
just
her
said if you were to
family's
look at the list, and you would see that Thompson wasn't represented if you didn't know who she was, in a sense.
Otherwise, what would be another choice there?
Because Adam LaCour works in the Thompson Bank, right?
Right,
But his address is
Forest
Lincoln.
City.
and Julie Olson works at the Thompson Bank.
She's already in one of these
I
groups.
know, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. They're already, that bank has two representatives on different parts.
Okay. So we might have to go with somebody from Buffalo.
Well, it covered Buffalo and Forest City, because it's Route 3, Forest City. And Thompson.
Nancy.
I'd be comfortable with her.
Oh, yeah, Nancy, yeah,
Okay.
she's my banker.
And I want to make sure we have some gender, attempts at gender equity.
Oh, yeah, then it's
So do you want to call her, Bill?
15.
Thank you.
Other than that, is that about all? We haven't, so you'll be talking to Nancy, and you'll be talking to somebody from Lincoln Trustees.
No. Matt Duvay didn't know anything, so he sent me his wife's number. I told him, I says, if you know nothing, could you send me her phone number and I could talk to someone who knows everything? He just sent me her number, so evidently he knows nothing.
So we can finalize this next week, maybe.
Yeah.
Counting on you, Bill.
But,
Counting on you, Bill.
really, want me to get it over with now, a couple phone calls?
I got a,
Let's
I hate to interrupt, I got a salesman meeting me at 10:30.
Yeah, let's,
My guys are down there starting, but anyway.
you can go ahead.
I got you that sort of tragic presentation quality here, but this is the output from our system with meters, equipment numbers. It lacks a little detail on what some of these things are, so I apologize for that. I could put specific things together for you in a kind of presentation-ready format if you give me some time or have specific requests, but what to say on here. 1s and 200s are pickups, 300s are graders, 500s are plow trucks or semi-trucks, I should say, and then some of the construction equipment is further down there in the 6s, and then 7s are trailers in general.
Still got the John Deere 5010.
Yeah,
That'll
that,
be highly collectible by the time we sell that.
it was out this year, I think they had that doing some rolling, but it isn't something that gets a lot of use and probably something that we maybe don't need to have. But it's hard to get rid of something like that, you
Doesn't
know?
have a cab,
It doesn't.
no, be a good tractor ride
It's,
tractor.
it's the
Yeah.
old, it's the old wheatland version.
Does it have a PTO?
I'm sure.
I don't know.
No?
Some of them construction ones didn't.
I don't know. I guess
You got auger tractor,
Uh,
running an auger. Auger and
Grain
corn.
auger?
Kind of an overkill.
Well, no, yeah, but it's
We had a-
that's fun.
we had a-
tractor ride tractor. No, some of these augers, we got augers that 1086 can hardly take care of.
Well, I think this is probably about the same horsepower. It's pretty low.
It would be something we'll be looking into over the next year or two is
If
cutting
you
this
do end
list
up
down.
selling that, you wanna make sure you market the vintage market,
Yeah,
the
well,
antique market.
certainly can do that, and we have auctioneers around who also know
Yeah.
that market well. So,
Who does most of our auctions?
well, we've had Garston, Helgeson alternate for the last 4, but we're gonna
We're
work
the
with,
only auctioneers in the county.
well, we're working with Hallberg's this time.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, he doesn't quite in the county, but yeah, no, I like him.
Address
He's
is
good.
Buffalo Center, and Tap Sale is in the county as well.
He's only about a few hundred feet out of the county.
Seemed fair.
Yeah, no, he
We,
does a
and I
good
believe
job.
he's the only one who does an auction, online component, does
And
auctions.
there's a lot of
That
advantages.
drives the prices up.
Yeah, because then you don't have to, you can go to one auction physically and still be at another auction. I mean, the bids come in, I mean, we've watched a few grain
They
trailers.
have, they have the computer in the trailer or in the truck live that.
Yep.
Yeah,
that
you
just
get a
keeps
lot more
updating there
guys.
with the price.
Yeah, you get a lot more guys bidding on stuff that way.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know, Susan, and we've talked about this in the past a little bit, but pickups, we probably shoot for 200,000 miles to get rid of. Graders, something like 12,000 hours, and trucks, 350 to 400,000 miles. So you can kind of, might give you some context as to, you know, how we're doing in terms of keeping up with our fleet rotation. Again, I could present this in a lot better detail with more time, but gives you a broad overview to look through in detail.
What is a whacker?
It's a brand.
Let's see. Yeah, it's a brand. A lot of times they make plate packers, but
Oh, okay.
They also make lighting units, they make, I think what else?
yeah, that might be what,
I think they make generators, they make.
Oh, is that right?
I don't know. We do have a portable light plant. Maybe that's it. I'm not
Might
sure.
do that.
Like I said, this is lacking some detail that I could.
The only reason I thought of that was Cleaner's got one sitting one by one of his buildings. It's a whacker.
Yeah. Quite a bit of
So
equipment.
do you still use the old, Cat D7s?
We use one quite regularly for borrow pit stripping and pushing up. The other two we don't, and so those probably need to go. I don't know if they'll demand much, but we got a couple scrapers and things too that get paired with them, and I think that's something we'll look into getting rid of as well. I don't know if a local auction is quite the right place for that, but
Well, with Hallberg, I'm guessing he could probably get it out there.
maybe. I think at this point, thought we might look into a bigger auction site where,
I've noticed I keep getting notices when I'm on some site or something, searching something. Purple Wave sends out a thing, this truck.
Yeah.
This much dollars will be sold on auction on this day. Okay, so that was kind of misleading on that, but it got your attention. Well,
yeah, Purple Wave and Iron Planet, Ritchie Brothers, and Big Iron are some of the big names that are opportunities for us to use. They have kind of a high commission rate, but their audience is enormous. And for something so specific like a 1950 cat dozer with a scraper behind it that's, you know, cable run and everything, I'm sure it's the right person that want to pay the good.
Would you sell it together or separately?
I'd have to
I suppose the cable
talk with the guys about how all that works, yeah.
cable scraper, you'd have to convert it to hydraulics if somebody else wanted to use it without the dozer.
Those scrapers are stored outside too, so I'm not sure what condition they're in. Like I said, I'll be learning a lot more about all these pieces of equipment over the next year as we kind of inventory our
Some
yard.
haven't been used in a while.
No, not since I've been here. Not sure when the last time they were used. But some of the dozers are inside, so they've taken up some valuable
Real estate, huh?
real estate inside, yeah.
Well, you say you used the one though, didn't you?
Well, we used one, but the other two, not at all. The one's
Oh.
a lot newer, it's a 70s model, you know, the D7F there. That's the one we use regularly, 62 and the 51, not so much.
So when you talk about engine hours, usually there's some type of a multiplier that you use that, for some of us who like to put it into mileage.
Tractors, we usually figure 50 miles an hour.
So that,
I guess I haven't used that as,
But that,
If you're,
this is different. Construction is,
if you take a vehicle running at full power through the field, across the field, it's gonna be going 100 miles an hour in a sense.
yeah.
But some of that time would be idle time, so then if you average it out,
This is back in the 70s and 80s, but those tractors were probably a little less reliable. Now, of course, they're probably more reliable than the electronics these days.
maybe.
Well, I guess I don't have any more questions on this. Makes sense to me, get rid of that cat truck for sure. That's, we don't need the headache.
and the proper place to probably try and get your best value out of it would be trading it into CAD. That's what your theory would be, I would
Yeah.
assume.
yeah. I know that we'd approached our truck dealer and they weren't interested, so.
So it's actually a CAT-made trucks,
Right.
so it's not even, they didn't use the frame from somebody else
I
or?
believe that it pairs with International in a lot of the components, but
Okay.
that's about as far as I can detail it out for you. Yeah, it was branded, cat
It
truck.
says CAT on the hood on them, doesn't it?
Yeah, bought it from Ziegler, you bet, yeah.
But it was mostly the wiring and connections and things like that you were having problems with.
I think it was like, maybe fuel after treatment and electronics, which are, you know, today's trucks, that's where you spend the time fixing, seems like.
You can spend a lot of hours on something this big.
that you can't find. Yeah.
When I was talking about overhauling the old 1992 Detroit in my truck back in 2012, and I talked to one guy about a price on it, and whether, you know, I said, I don't know what I'd do. He says, I'd overhaul that thing in a second. He says, I'm making a killing off of these people on these electronic things after they go off warranty.
Yeah.
One thing that'll probably get brought up to you at some point, why are we buying cat equipment, the maintainers and stuff? And there's a good reason for it. You want to explain that to her? Has to do with the software we already have in our repair shop.
Yeah, primarily, we're trying to look for a consistent fleet, so all our pickups are, much, you know, that kind of goes back and forth, but most of them are Fords. The trucks, we had Sterlings for a number of years, and then tried Cats, and we're trying to get rid of that last one there. But Western Star is what we've been going with for the last 5 purchases. So eventually, we'd like to have a Western Star fleet, and each of these pieces of equipment comes with software that allows you to do diagnostic work, and that's important, as well as the quality of your sales staff, which probably is a better explanation why we use CAT for all of our, not all of our heavy equipment, but all of our maintainers and our excavators are CAT.
Also the nearest dealer, isn't it?
I think the John Deere dealer is in Fort Dodge, Murphy Tractor.
Yeah.
Another 20 miles.
Cat holds value really well, and their service is great. They stood behind repairs that, they weren't technically obligated to because they're out of warranty. Story after story that, some of those stories now I'll turn over with staff, but I'm sure Aaron could refresh our memory on some of the things that
I remember a couple of cases we dealt with that they covered.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if it's something that should work and isn't working, didn't last the life that it should have, even if it's out of warranty, they'll help us out. So we've had really good luck with them. Our salesman is good to work with.
So this grader wouldn't have the front wheel assist,
I believe they do now.
or they do? Okay.
So all the Western, like you wanna get your fleet all the same, do they all have different controls in them, or do they stay fairly consistent? So like if you put a driver out of one that's used to one truck and he's gotta run the spare truck that's a way different, in this case, it's gonna end up where the spare truck, is it gonna be not so much different?
Well, the hydraulic controls are a different manufacturer and they're outfit into the truck. So, the Freightliners we have in the Western Stars, I think that they would have similar controls for all the plow blades and
So even
everything.
the Freightliners and the Western Stars both have the same.
I think so, because they would all
Does
have
the
same
Outside
hydraulic.
equipment is probably comes from the same vendor then, or whatever?
Well,
it's
for
the,
transferring it.
It's kind of the
transfer.
brain of the truck is the same.
Yeah.
How it converts the actions to the levers for the operator.
I would think all your plow controls go with the plow and the.
Yeah, I think we're out of, I don't think we have any more with the big long levers in them. Now they're all basically finger levers.
Yeah. You would think that driving a truck would be driving a truck, but they're all different.
Fortunately, all the plow trucks are automatic now, so at least you can focus on the other 15 levers and not shift.
You don't have to worry about shifting all the time. Yeah.
So when you replaced these pickups and Dodge pickup, and you didn't trade them, you kept the old machines to just keep for the auction, or?
Why did we keep it? That is a good question. I think we get better pricing on auction in a lot of cases, private sale versus trade. But they have not been seeing a lot of action since their kind of decommissioning time, so that's probably not good on their value either. So I think that it might be worthwhile for us to try and trade pickups even if we aren't getting a great value. The last pickup we bought, we traded the Trailblazer, and it only traded for $3,000, but probably beat sitting around for 2 years and getting $3,500.
We're paying insurance on that old machine, we're paying tax and registration. I mean, I'm assuming there's still,
Insurance we would still have on us, probably minimal, but
yeah.
it's going to
It would be
depreciate.
liability only, I would think, on those older vehicles.
We have a meeting with our insurance carrier to go over a lot of that in more detail.
It's not really, with the county, it's not really a liability, it's a, kind of a blanket policy that covers,
Okay, it doesn't cover individual vehicles, it covers all
Well,
of them, or?
yes and no.
No?
Yeah, because we have cards for each vehicle, but yet it's like a,
Wouldn't it be nice to get a straight answer is I think what you're saying. But when something comes up, we work with them and it always seems like they treat us fairly.
yes.
But I need to get some answers on that and I have a meeting set up with them soon to do that. But yeah, that's a good question, Susan. Especially if we only have an auction every 3 years, you got a lot of.
Yeah, and they take, I'm assuming they're parked inside somewhere.
Not always.
No, there's one that sits outside by Buffalo all the
Well,
time.
that's one they use. And
Well, no, there was one there that it left, now it got sold at the last auction or whatever, but that one sat there forever. I don't know if it hardly ever moved. Seems like it was no Ford.
They had a brown truck sitting there that now it's got fixed up, but sat there for too long.
So what he's asking, I'm just asking, are you asking to have the go-ahead to use half of your budget? Is that what you're wishing for,
What
or?
the percentage of it is here. About a third of the equipment budget I'll be asking for ahead of the budget approval. Yeah. Wouldn't normally like to do that. Obviously seems out of order. It's just tricky to get everything done quick enough. You know, when your money's there, you'd like to spend it. Like last year, we had 25,000 that just sat in the budget as the fiscal year turned over because the truck was still on order and not received. So we had to do an amendment to carry over the balance and then spend it the following year. Not the greatest sort of administrative policy, I guess, but worked. It's just we're trying to be more prepared and purchases out front, and I thought since it's only a third of what I was proposing that it might be a safe number to swallow at this point.
And what is your proposal?
So we're working on putting the spec package and the bid and everything all together with the supplier right now, and I don't have that yet, but maybe this week. And I'm hoping it looks something like 160,000, the number I've written here, for the truck and box. And then I'll be working with our mechanic staff to figure out how we want to get that plow equipment put on the new truck when that comes in. Which, again, we already own that snowplow equipment. It's just a matter of getting it moved over to the other truck chassis, which is no easy feat. So that'll take some time from either a truck shop or our mechanics. Our mechanics did the majority of this one.
Do you have to pay for them before you get them
We usually pay for them on delivery.
on delivery?
So
Why do you need the money ahead of time then, as far as?
I don't need the money ahead of time. I need the approval from the board to order it. So that when we receive it, the money is there in the budget.
Just to start the process.
Yeah. You know you're gonna have that part of the budget okay.
Yeah.
And this will be part of budget talks next week.
Because, I mean, I read it here and it says pay after July 1st.
It says 2022 budget.
Right. So we're not asking to spend any money here now or even before July 1st.
The only money now would be that pickup just done with the Oshkosh insurance revenue.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? It all comes down to whether we can explain it to our constituents on the new equipment.
Well, being a man who's been around equipment all my life, fixing it, repairing it, and operating it, it's, and someone who works on a 1992 Peterbilt, yesterday was a 1999 Kenworth. Having operational equipment that does not break down a lot makes your labor force much more efficient. And there's nothing worse than breaking down when you're in the middle of something. But that can happen somewhat with new equipment too, but, that's the way I try to explain it, is that it makes things more efficient. Does it sometimes seem like we've got pretty good equipment? That's the one I always get, is that all the rest of the counties come to our auctions to buy our equipment, used equipment, because it's better than theirs.
It's not the other counties though.
Well, no, I've asked other counties and it's not necessarily true.
It's a company called, one company that's done it is Freeborn County Excavating or whatever it is.
Freeborn Construction, yeah.
And, yeah, they do some trust, or some
Townships.
township work
Yeah.
up in Minnesota.
Well, a lot of it has to do with how much risk do we want to put on ourselves for not being able to get roads plowed as fast. Can we afford to be down one or two pieces of equipment? Can we stretch getting gravel roads open a day and a half versus a day?
I've
Doesn't
talked
say-
to plenty of people who are happy with that. Because most of them have the equipment to get themselves out anyway when it comes to gravel roads, but there are some out there that don't, so. It's,
There are some that just have cars.
yes,
And they live on level D.
no,
There's a couple.
there's
Which are the
people that
ones
live
that-
on level Bs and don't have, I would
Some of
think,
them live on level Bs, but there is plow service.
We
Oh,
plow to everybody's
yes.
residence.
Yeah, they,
I was gonna say, I've never heard of anybody that doesn't get plowed to where they live. so.
Yeah, like Butch Swanson would be one that's a level B, but we plow up to his driveway.
Oh, yeah, that going across, yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of those examples out there.
At that point, it would almost be just as easy just to run through the whole section or all the way across it.
I think that one's a tough one. I think it might have a couple.
There's a couple of, yeah, you might have some spots where it gets pretty deep in there.
What are your thoughts, Susan?
it's gonna take me a while to understand all of this. I guess I don't really like seeing machinery sitting around that hasn't been used that could be money
Right,
somewhere else.
I agree with you there.
I guess I didn't know that you did it every 3 years, seems to me like maybe it makes sense. I mean, I don't know how you have to put it in on papers and that you're gonna have a sale of.
Just public advertising and have an
Well,
auction, yeah.
You could do it you could do it as soon as the piece isn't used anymore, once it's been replaced, you can take it to Culver's auction there and sell it every time. He has auctions several times a year.
Probably true.
That's where I
Back
was
in the days
kind
when
of-
everybody came to the auctions, it's nice to have a lot of stuff there so you can bring all different, quite a few different guys looking for different equipment. They might, while they're there, they might, well, you know what, I might bid on this one, it's going cheap. So it's,
I think it'll be an interesting year to see with the online and in-person
We
auction.
can take sealed bids on things
There-
too. There's a number of options. We can trade,
It's like his capability, it'd just be interesting to see how his auction does, especially on a year like this.
yeah.
We've been to numerous online auctions and, it's obviously the way to go.
Yeah,
it isn't, quite as infectious as being right there. But it still is, it's kinda like on online gambling
But it
probably. I've
covers
never
a
done it,
broader
but it's, yeah, you wonder who you're bidding against,
Well, and the combination of the two, you go
Yeah.
to the SAP sales and
Well, yeah, you got
to
people
have that
there.
competition online versus what you're sitting there, wow, it just went way past what I was gonna bid.
Yeah.
So what are you actually asking for today?
today I'm asking for questions.
Yeah.
And, some favorability toward getting quotes put together and brought to you next week and talk through them or go through with the approval process. I don't want to shove anything down your throat. We do have time. But in order to get a truck in the summer and get some use on it before winter, sometime in the next month, it'd be nice to get approval for them to get things going. Just because the lead time is that far.
Yeah, we went through that last year.
Yeah.
Susan, we got a week too to vet out questions. Well, we got more than that, but during the week, I guess I can talk through anything further.
So it's
Detail
not,
with it
it's
as well.
not an actual item on our agenda, it's just he wants to make sure
Informational.
he doesn't want to go too far with this if we're not even interested in entertaining.
Right, right.
I guess some of the points we brought, you know, if we can dispose of some of this equipment that's sitting there that could be cashed out in whatever manner you figure out is best,
Mhm.
I would like to see some of that.
Yep. We can work on that. Yep.
Especially if it's taking up room, like you say, where
Yeah.
other more used pieces of equipment are sitting outside. My own shop's like that. The junk inside, good stuff sitting outside.
I might have a building full of stuff.
Well, it's not junk, it's good, it's good junk.
Good job. Oh, yeah.
Looking for somebody for that. Well, I guess I would say move forward with the process.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we need to make sure that you're doing it in a timely fashion so that you were not waiting forever for a piece of equipment. But I think we all want to see it. See what you come up with.
So,
I don't think it's a problem.
all right. Well, yeah. Work through that this week.
Yep, sounds good. If you have any questions midweek, shoot me an email. We'll look up what we can for you.
I have a question about a road.
Okay.
Um,
Beers?
I was wondering if you were aware of or knew of the water line leak underneath the county road that goes out past the clubhouse at Rice Lake.
I know that they had a water line problem this summer, and how was that? They had a temporary line strung across the road for a while. Is that the same one we're talking about?
No.
Then
I
I'm
don't
not
think so.
aware.
This was, okay. Well, I think they came out and thought they fixed it without damaging the road. But there's another water leak, and to me, it appears like it's under the road. So, I don't know, water's running across. We have our own ice skating rink out there.
Not good.
Where's that at?
You know where Sherman's old house was? Daryl and Joyce Sherman's old house, not the new one.
Before.
Straight south, straight north of the clubhouse.
Okay.
It's leaking into the parking lot of the clubhouse. The grassed area.
What is this water line?
It's a well that
It's a shared-
services
Shared water system.
Oh, all right,
That
they have a shared water
services-
system out there?
5 houses. Well,
Several.
there's multiple wells out there, and this is one that's leaking. But I think they thought they fixed it because it was alongside of the road and they got it. But when I walk every day, I see it and it's still leaking and it looks like it's coming from under the road now.
Okay. Do you know who would be the point of contact for that water system?
Yes, it would be Trustee and Randy Roby. Trustee works at Farmers Trust and Savings Bank in
Randy's works at the at Don's Culver. He's usually night shift and weekends.
What's the last name?
Grothe, Grothe.
I'm guessing if you called during the day to their home in Rice Lake, you could probably get Randy.
Okay. Do you think they know or don't know about it, or?
I think they know about it, but I don't know if that anyone has contacted secondary roads, because eventually I'm sure there's gonna have to have something there, I don't know. It was Ostrander that fixed it the first time.
Okay. Maybe I can visit with him too.
Yeah, he might be able to tell you more information
Yeah.
than anyone.
It's tricky, you know, the water system entirely is owned by the residents out there, and if somebody's digging in the road right away, then we would be responsible for permitting that work and making sure it gets
Yeah.
fixed up how it's supposed to be, but those calls don't always get made.
What I'm seeing now is where this is leaking, there's quite a drop off of the blacktop.
Okay,
That, I mean, I wouldn't like to see your trucks,
yeah,
hit it
Is this right at the turn then?
right at the turn.
okay. We'll just have to do a little digging and see if there's a plan to get it fixed and what the fix is. And
Otherwise, it's creating a danger on your road.
yeah, we would certainly don't want water flowing in the
Actually,
winter.
when I walk, I can see it, the moisture on the actual blacktop road
It's
coming
bubbling
up.
up through one of the cracks in the blacktop?
there's moisture there when there's not moisture anywhere else, so.
That
Okay,
makes you nervous that it might be hollowing out underneath too. Probably shouldn't be though.
no one be sucking
There's no
anything,
place for it to go.
Yeah.
In a sense, you just sog it up.
so I'll look into that, and if I have trouble finding somebody, maybe I can ask you for a contact.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anything else for roads?
All right,
Thanks.
good, thank you.
Auditor's office, drainage matters. He's here, isn't she? Good morning, we're ready for you. Morning.
Good morning.
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 We have digging going on,
I know. Yeah,
finally.
I'm excited.
Didn't get a long ways.
It's better than what they were.
Because punching through the frozen ground to start with is tougher than peeling it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll take some extra time on it all.
it'll be good.
I think though, when you start peeling things out, the part that's frozen on top, that's black dirt, easily sorted. These big chunks. Just won't post pretty good.
Yeah.
For a while. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, get done in 3 days,
All right.
and it starts raining and snow. You guys have anything for drainage?
Where is that, Terry?
If you go to Thompson, and you get down, I'm trying to think if you don't have any farms there. The Sunday farm is where they're at right now. You know where the Sunday
On
farm?
the south side of the.
Yeah, the big Sunday farm, that's where they're at.
Okay.
They're kind of right in the middle of it, about half mile.
Yeah.
From each way.
Which one should be that?
That'd be Newton. The last. road,
Yeah. Right south of Highway 9.
That's actually, there's 3 Sunday parcels.
Oh, yep,
Are they in section 28?
Is that what it is?
30.
30.
Oh, they're already in 30.
Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah, the highway's up there. It's south of the highway. half
Yeah, I
mile.
know. But this says the Thompson Grain.
Right, you're farther west than that. They crossed the road a long time ago, and it's been
They've already
sitting-
crossed into that.
They got into the middle of
It
that
says
section.
Carmen Road from here, but that's the Sunday farm right here. Oh, okay.
3 family members own it, so there's 3-mile-long strips of
Okay.
acres each or whatever, give or take.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which Sundays is that?
Carl and his sister.
Carol,
There's another one there.
Carmen, that's the
Carmen,
Wolf
yeah.
Run one.
Yeah,
Well, no,
2 sisters and a brother. And their intent was just to get to the south road this year, or this winter.
I'm not sure what his intent is.
That's,
I thought he was gonna go as far as he could.
That he wanted to get to that south road this winter and then finish it come spring.
Okay.
That'd be the next section.
Who's the contractor on that?
B&B out of, that little town over by us.
Wallingford.
Wallingford.
Yeah.
Everybody's been happy with their work.
Mm-hmm.
They just couldn't get the pipe when they needed it.
Was that a COVID thing that they couldn't get
Yeah,
pipe or?
just, the supply channel was.
Yeah, it just, according to the contractor, they just couldn't get it.
Secrets.
And then he got to a point where he just wasn't getting enough to warrant driving over, because he'd have a half a day's work or something, so then he waited until he had a lot of work to do.
Who's that contact person of that, Andy? I mean, who's-
Jeremy Bodle, I think Bodle. I've been out there a few times with him and talked to him, and he seems like a really nice guy, and whenever I've texted him, he's gotten right back to me, and
It's two brothers that own the company, right?
I think
Steve.
so. I
When
don't know if
Rick's
I've-
on it, there's the two brothers, they're always there, and there's the
Yeah.
other guys. I think early on, we only had maybe a week or two of delays that we created with that hog setup and finding sand and everything, but since then, he could have been going if he had the budget. So we gave him an extension, the original deadline was December 1st, and we extended it till May 1st.
I can't remember when we extended it to.
Somewhere in there,
Yeah.
May 1st. Give or take a month. May 1st of June or something. Like everything else due to COVID. I didn't have anything else.
Thank you.
Okay. Recorder's quarterly report. How's that? Should bring it in.
She'll bring it in.
Okay.
I can go get it.
She's not available. We can go on to the others.
So, you want my quarterly report?
I'll start with Bill.
Start over
You
here.
can stamp it and look at it and pass it.
Sure.
It's not a whole lot new in there, I guess. December's kind of our busy month, so that's, you can see that on there. Passports are picking up, which is kind of surprising, but we've had a lot of calls in the last week or two.
A lot of people leaving the country,
They must be, or wanting to anyway.
wanting that flexibility. You don't have any Hollywood types coming in for passports, do you?
No, but I better not say this. We had an interesting marriage license yesterday, I'll just say that. You can ask me about it later.
A big fancy wedding.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we always joke that we get to be photographers and flower girls and
Yeah.
witnesses and
Yeah, a lot of times we do.
Where did they have that?
It was upstairs.
upstairs.
You're from Minnesota, evidently. I don't think you can get in the courthouse there yet, so.
We had one of my employees get married on a 15-minute break one time. We all went up and were the flower girls and
There is one other participant.
Oh, no kidding.
and we, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you have a part-time person that does passports,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She does a lot of other things too, but yeah.
Sure. So do you have a projected, like, how many passports and how much money you'll make by doing passports? Or is it just a
It's-
service that we wanted to provide?
It's pretty much a service. The average has been about 320 a year, but now because of COVID, that's way down. So hopefully we'll get back up there.
But the next fiscal year might be way up,
Right, right.
because you're covering sometimes 3 counties.
Yep. Hancock and work don't do them.
People are saving up their vacations.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the Recorder's quarterly report.
I'll second it.
On a motion from Derby and a second from Gensel, approve the recorder's quarterly report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Auditor's quarterly report.
Bill's got it there.
Only one parking lot ticket?
Been kind of slow.
Administered
slow.
or paid?
Paid, but maybe administered, I don't know. It's been a slow quarter.
It just went out, oh, it's a couple months ago.
Just call us. Well,
We've had a problem with Waldorf people in our parking lot. And we have an ordinance that says you can. It's only for courthouse business.
Sure.
He got out and started walking over to Waldorf, and I says, "Sir, did you read the sign before you parked in this parking lot?" "No, I didn't see it." This is, "You're out in the street far enough now, you can see it now." It was a pretty sad look he gave me. I didn't get warm fuzzies.
I do a lot of that, like when I go to lunch, if I see somebody, I'll say, I'll give you a ticket if you're gonna park there. Okay, and they get back in their car.
And once in a while, it's maybe a Rotarian or something like that. They'll
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, but they're
And-
only gonna be there for an
An
hour,
hour,
in a
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, but we've given Rotarians tickets too.
Yeah,
We're equal opportunity.
yeah, there you go.
Where do they meet?
Right, South Hall.
Not anymore, not right now. We need the Bowman upstairs right now.
So you get more room down
More room to, well, and they're using that as a classroom.
Oh, I suppose.
there. There's space.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's quarterly report.
I got another grant that I applied for a couple days ago, so I'm up to around $169,000 worth of grant income.
What's that one for then?
We told
It is an adjustment on the original grant that I put in. The state is backfilling, because FEMA only paid 75%, so they're backfilling some of those other ones. So. That doesn't show up in my, it goes in a different account, so it doesn't show up in my,
So is there gonna be any more monies available to, help supplement county health?
so there,
We've
the
already had a
last,
whole discussion on that right now.
Oh, really?
We're on a subject right now.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, we've got a motion on the floor
that's true.
without a second.
Carl starts talking about these big grants, you know.
I'll second the motion. So we've got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Derby to approve the auditor's quarterly report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we can get into open forum.
Good job of keeping this on task.
so the last conference call I had with the ISAC, there's no additional money in the new CARES from, that just passed from the federal government. There's no additional money for the states or counties in that.
And nothing left from what we got before.
There might be some left, but right now, they were trying to decide what they were gonna do with it and how they were gonna apply it.
I heard the CSS had, $2 million left over. At one point,
About the COVID money.
yeah, the CARES Act They limited their, each one to 10,000. Where over there, we were allowing larger amounts, even though some of them were way too large. But we didn't approve them that big either.
So we are in open forum, or,
Yes, we're open forum.
okay?
We blew right past your transfers.
Yep, sure did.
Oh, I didn't miss that. We'll go back to-
You said it, you.
Okay, so what are these DNR ones?
Those are notices of change. Let's see, this is Eagle Fork 11, so this is, they have to fill out paperwork every so often. And this will be paperwork, change, crop rotation, optimum years, they have to show that change.
And then every year, they have to just submit a renewal. So you'll see them come in just every year also.
About every week or two, you get more of those.
Okay. And who does this go pass through then? Does that go through Robert?
No, it goes through my
This
office.
is your office?
Yep.
Okay.
If we didn't do the master matrix resolution, we wouldn't even probably see this stuff.
Right.
So we just review it. That's about all we do. Is that it for open forum then? Okay, we'll go back to number 10, consider for approval auditors transfers.
And
We're transferring
that's what those are.
from the rural basic to the secondary roads. And, here it's rural basic to the fair when it comes in, and general basic to secondary roads, and when we're at that code from general basic. It doesn't come all at once, it just comes periodically when funds are available. So I guess I would entertain a motion for that.
On the transfers, right? I would make a motion to approve the auditor's transfers.
I'll second it.
Okay, we've got a motion from Smith and a second from Jensvold to approve the auditor's transfers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. And discuss miscellaneous budgets.
So no, this is on the.
There is one other participant.
Every time I talk. So, I know this is on the agenda for next week, but I kind of wanted to get everything at least somewhat in here so that you get the total budget, or at least most of it. So what I have a question about is like the libraries and the libraries are requesting take that one out too, that's the fair. Libraries are requesting $22,000 per library this year, with a total appropriation of $110,000. We've kind of been sticking with the $20,000 the last couple of years. Just wondering where you want to be with that.
We won't even be able to make a decision on this. You and I have to abstain.
We do?
Well, it's your sister
It is.
and my mother-in-law is the rate librarian.
It is.
You haven't abstained on this before.
I have
That's-
talked to him about it, so
And I've been in the library.
good for you. How was that for you?
I actually helped redo the Thompson Library.
Yeah, they've got some nice books with pictures now. They're supposed to.
How has COVID affected the libraries? Has it made it,
Well, they were-
more difficult?
They
or-
haven't been able to be open much,
Yeah,
but going forward, they're probably gonna have quite a bit of need.
So do you want me to read you their letter?
Yeah.
Due to the coronavirus, the Winnebago County Library Association members have decided not to appear in person. As you already know, the county libraries are a vital service to the county residents using the libraries. The short time we unfortunately had to close our doors, service continued with curbside pickup. We all realize the importance of libraries and want to continue to assist our users. Library budgets have had to purchase sanitizing material this year and has decreased our budgets to purchase reading material and listening material. We're asking for the same amount as the past fiscal year. We appreciate your continued support.
So the sanitizing equipment, could they have gotten monies for that?
I don't know that answer. Being part of a city, I would
Yeah,
assume
I would
that
assume
they
you
should
could have.
have been able to
They're part of their
piggyback off
city
that.
budget, so
Whether
not
they
lying.
did or not. That's where, especially in the smaller towns, you just don't have people in place to think of all those things.
I mean, where else would the cities use their COVID money?
Oh, yeah, if they got, yeah, I don't know if they all got, did they all get COVID money?
I don't know what Iowa was
I'm
like.
assuming you had to apply for it.
Yeah, but I'm guessing we could get some reimbursement on that. Probably not a lot there, but Minnesota, they distributed it to the cities and the schools. I know Glenville passed their monies to the schools. Because the city didn't need it, or all of it.
Do we give the same amount to each library?
Yes.
I think that's actually kind of important, because even though they're smaller libraries, it may be the only,
Fortunately, Forest City and Library and them all are on that same page.
Yeah, they all agree on it.
Yeah.
good. That's good.
It's not that way in every county. I do know that.
Sometimes that's the only thing in the small town, that's,
Still there,
yeah.
When you look at it, the smaller towns probably have the lower level income people that need it more.
Possibly.
yeah. Yeah, no,
They get off the bus, they go right into the library and tell mom and dad get off work. It's like a
Yeah, I
babysitting
think a lot of
service.
the libraries end up being childcare too.
there is some of that.
But they do have opportunities for those kids to connect and
Yeah.
do homework or whatever, that may not have at home.
Well, they're asking
22,000.
and that's $2,000 more than they've gotten in the past.
I take that back. 22,000 is what we gave last year also.
Yeah.
Oh,
The 2 years before that, it was 20,000 per library.
I
That's
guess,
what I was thinking, but I just assumed what you said earlier was true.
I
Misspoke.
I misspoke.
I guess I'm okay with the same.
22.
makes sense to me.
Okay. The county fair is asking for 35,000, which is
Same,
It's the same, isn't it?
it is the same.
35, 36, somewhere over the
Yeah.
years. I think 35.
Yeah, they gave we did 35 last year also. They have a longer letter, so I really hate to read it to you, but I will. It says, well, I do not need to remind you of the year's challenges. You are well aware of them. I'm sure you face plenty of tough decisions for the county. We're asking you to include the fair in your 2021 budget discussions at the same amount of $35,000. Please see the attached budget and contact me with any questions. We are in good shape financially, all things considered, and want to keep it that way. The 2020 fair was set up to be a really good one. However, the pandemic situation hit and the plan went out the window. It took us a while, but we finally made the decision to cancel public events and just to have the youth exhibits. We were able to roll over entertainment contracts to next year. A carnival returns to the fair for the first time in 20-plus years. We'll have a big and expensive lineup of entertainment with more and bigger free events than ever before. We still have had plenty of expenses this year while we maintain the fairgrounds as normal. We will work hard to make sure our youth know the fair is coming back strong and they need to get going on their projects. It's been difficult for the extension and 4-H leaders to help kids get involved with limited contact. This is an area where we may need to increase our spending. The Fair Board, Extension, and Farm Bureau will be making a joint effort to renew exhibitors this spring with some livestock clinics. The Fair Board feels that 2021 is crucial to the future of the fair in this county. We do not want to be held back financially. Whatever you're able to allocate to our needs will be very appreciative, and we'll do our best to utilize these funds for the betterment of the fair. Thank you for the many years of support, and thank you for helping us improve the Winnebago County Fair. Please feel free to contact me with questions. Ted Thompson.
Who was it? Tom.
Ted Thompson.
Oh, Ted's,
Tom Thompson.
I was gonna say, Tom's the president. So,
Okay.
Yes.
he's been the president for about 3-4 years.
Who was it before him?
Lynn.
Yeah, it was
Lynn
Lynn,
Hamilton?
yeah.
Is he still on the board?
Not sure if he's worked off now or not. He's on for a couple.
I'm not sure.
Well, historically, we've always supported the fair and what they needed, as long as they, utilize it in a wise way. I think they did have some costs last year, putting on what they did. And maintaining the fairgrounds. I think they've done a good job building it up, and I was looking forward to this last year to see what they did.
I don't have a problem.
You gotten any kind of budget for mental health?
How about you?
That's the only thing that I don't have a budget for.
On the fair stuff?
Yeah,
I wish they could use
Wow, we got a,
for other things.
for other things.
Yeah, they're working on
we
that.
got
They're
a
getting
special
some
meeting
buildings.
yesterday.
Well, I don't know,
Or whatever,
Were you there this year,
there's
last
something
year at
that's
all?
up in the air that's
I don't think so.
cost
They have
us
a new
$500,000.
area that they can use for outdoor weddings and stuff like that they built.
So I'll call Melissa and see what she's
Closed,
got.
but it's like they can ruffle.
Kind of a rebuild.
An open pole show.
Oh,
That'd be nice.
It's pretty good size.
I think I did see that.
Yeah, so they've got that. So they're working towards that. They'd like to eventually be able to have events there if they can put in some campsites or whatever. Down the road. So it sounds like we're in consensus on the 35.
35, okay. Excuse me. Crisis intervention, we gave 2,500 last year, or budgeted 2,500, we haven't sent a check yet. Is that something you want to continue to?
I support that.
Who do they answer to? um,
Sheriff's Department?
Huh?
It's a
No.
mental health thing.
It is,
Sounds mental healthy, but
I got a letter here. Crisis Intervention is a private nonprofit organization that has provided services to North Iowans since 1977. Crisis Intervention Service promotes a society free from violence and oppression through social change, effective community partnerships, and awareness. Blah, blah, blah. Crisis Intervention Service has an annual budget of $1.7 million and employs 27 individuals. Most of the revenue comes from federal and state grants. Others is United Way donations and private foundations, and local government is 1%. For example, all funds received, the agency uses local dollars within the communities they are received from. Sorry, I can't talk anymore. So if we give the 2,500, all that is guaranteed to be used within our county.
Do they have brick and mortar in?
Mason City,
Yeah, I was gonna say, they just have a regional office. Do they also work hand in hand with the court system and all?
I think they work with the victims.
Yeah, I think they do.
So is that Megan?
No,
Or
that's
what's-
separate.
That's nothing.
I mean,
Grant.
last year, the CIS assisted 2,052 victims from the criminal legal systems and provided medical advocacy to 176 victims. They provided housing and financial assistance to 1,935 individuals.
Sure, it's better this year though.
Yeah,
That was 2,500.
yes,
That's what they're asking for, you know.
yep. And I can make you copies of this if you want to see it.
So I'm okay with it.
And
I guess.
RSVP, I put down the 8,000. That's what we've been doing for many years. Congregate meals, or what is it called? Elderbridge, why am I thinking elderberry? Elderbridge, thank you. 8,027 is what they asked for this year.
oh, that's ours.
The other one, no, RSVP was 8,000, Elder Ridge is 8,027,
Yep.
Oh, okay,
two separate items.
got it.
So now the RSVP might, I wonder if they'd be able to help some of these seniors in filling out paperwork for their shots.
You know, that's not a bad idea. Maybe. And the only other one that I have a question about right now is the Historical Society is requesting $3,000 from your annual budget.
The Historical Society of Winnebago County?
Yes. Now, did they indicate what the funds are for?
Winnebago Historical Society is requesting $3,000 to assist with operation of Heritage Park of Northern Iowa. It's been a tough year for the park. We've only been able to hold 2 events all year. Next year is in doubt for at least 3 of our early events. Heritage Park of North Iowa is a nonprofit venue that preserves our region's history, educates and entertains, and helps our region's economy through tourism. This is both an economic asset and a positive quality of life asset to our region. The need is the park has annual expenses which will exceed the income. We're dependent on assistance from outside sources. Your assistance would be more than appreciated. Jim Ullman.
So the issue that I've had with it, you know, we funded them $3,000 for the park for many, many years, up until last year. I think that was the first year we did not fund it, 'cause, you know.
Well, and then you amended the budget last year to do the $5,000 for the military museum.
Military museum specifically as a project. And
But we also haven't paid that yet either because I don't know.
invoicing.
Yeah, no
They're
one's-
actually moving forward.
Okay.
Now, I've heard some things, they're starting to nail down things now, so.
Okay. Well, no one has invoiced us.
Yeah, well, and they probably will at some point here, but just recently, in last month, I've heard some things that they're
Moving forward.
moving now.
Okay.
COVID kind of slowed them down. Communication wasn't the best when you can't meet. But, and then one of the main components has been having some medical issues, so. I think that they're a great group that does great things. There's, you know, the main office is over here in Winnebago County, but Heritage Park is in Hancock County, and that was the issue I had with it. It always goes to the Hancock County project, but it benefits the whole area.
How much does Hancock County give to them? I know I've asked this question before.
I don't think
I
they do.
asked, Yeah, you know, and that was one of the issues,
We
I
have,
think.
we have a real thing about Hancock not giving,
To something in their own county and
Yeah.
someone from
it's
another.
like they forget this last
Do they
mile.
request? Does the?
Yes,
They do request.
they like the revenues from our mile over here, but they don't put any
It's
money
almost
into
like we
it.
need to
Do
put,
matching.
we need to do matching, yeah.
I do
that's
matching
what I
on
was
something
gonna
like
say.
that because, you know, then it
Yeah.
will not necessarily pressure the people, but
Embarrass them.
it will also, but it would actually make the conversation open up more between them, I think, too. Just a thought.
I know I've worked on a couple of their supervisors over the years using some shame tactics. It didn't work.
Would we do, if we try to do a match with Hancock County, would we go, say, $2,000?
If they're asking for,
Three, and we do two with a match, that'd make it
it
4.
would be better for the historical society, actually.
Yeah.
You know, they'd get an extra 1,000 out of it.
Maybe it might open up the conversation with Hancock County and the historical society a little bit if they had those.
How would we proceed with that? Send a letter to the, both of them? Or send it to them and let them go down there,
I could call Jim.
see how he wants to do it? I guess I'd entertain that rather than just the 3,000 and we're the ones that give. We gave them 5,000 for the military museum last year. You know, I like special projects, not maintenance, you know.
It just seems like you should be made nice in your own county.
If we can just open up that door to Hancock County funding.
Yeah.
The one thing in the past, that we had more flexibility on our, you know, we have revenue that is outside of tax money. And in the past, we've kind of looked at the tipping fees from the landfill as our source of revenue for these donations. Because it's not tax money, it's left. And Hancock County doesn't have that, but I don't really feel sorry for them.
Okay. Well, I think that's it for today. I will get the rest of the budget entered and get you a book for next week.
Is it possible to have the book available at the end of the week so I can look at it?
Depending on how it goes, entering everything.
Or at least a digital version so I can scroll through?
Yeah, I will try
Whatever
my,
you
I
have.
will try my best to get it all in, and I've got most of it. Of course, we're not gonna have revenues at this point or anything because of, or the tax revenues, but I have mostly everything else.
One thing I'm really curious about is the local option sales tax, how we're comparing. You know, because the change in how tax is collected, now the online people have to collect it. It has to come back. I don't know what the delay on that is, if there's a 6-month delay or
There is
whatever.
actually state tax on that too.
Yes, 7%.
Well,
When I buy on Amazon, there's 7% collected, comes all the way back to the locals. Option sales tax and 5% for the state and
Some reason I didn't understand it that way. That it was collected and it was only at like the federal level and or if it was in the state that it was shipped from. When I don't know why I misunderstood that.
it seems like there was some federal case that caused all this to allow our state to sign on to, yes, you have to charge tax online.
As they should.
Makes it fair, so the Main Street businesses are on a fair playing field with
Yeah.
online. So that's why I want to make sure we're getting that revenue. You know, it's going to be hard to tell because a lot of our businesses have been down, so that revenue's down. But online should have been way up compared to when we didn't get any money.
Every now and then I do something, buy something online, but usually I look what's online, look at the prices and then see if the hardware store can get it for me.
Right.
And be within
Singlesteads and see what they can get me, and sometimes they can, sometimes they can't.
Yeah, if they can't, then I'll order it, but
Oh, give me just a second, I can tell you what's in that fund.
Is that something that's quarterly then too?
Yeah, one-
Yes, yep. Right now, as of December 2020, we have $325,718.69.
Say that number again.
325,718.69. Which actually,
For the year, or for a
No,
calendar year? Or
from July 1st, 2020 to December 2020. So we're actually ahead.
Yeah, that's, I was thinking the online, everybody,
Yeah, that's nothing
Didn't
to
go to
sneeze
me.
at, is it?
they
'Cause I
didn't go
only-
to Mason City, they went online and bought it and benefited.
I only budgeted 400,000 for revenue, so, for last year, so.
Now, does that include any, the backfill from, any of our funding or anything? That's in a different pot? But didn't you get a grant?
This is just lost.
Okay, so we didn't get any COVID monies to replace anything like that, did we?
No.
Okay. Because granted, there's probably lost revenue there. We can't prove it because of the change in,
Mhm.
when did, was it a year ago this started? With the online sales?
I don't know that answer.
yeah, it's not much more than that. I don't think it's too.
Okay, so here's an article written in May of 2018, understanding the new, they filed, or the governor signed it in May of 2018. So it may have started, I hate it when they have these things that pop up, you can't.
No, yeah.
New internet sales tax is applicable to all retailers regardless of nexus, who sells and delivers taxable, effective January 1st, 2019. So it was part of last year's budget and all of this year's budget. Oh, actually,
No, it was
year and a half
before.
ago,
Yeah.
a year, 2 years ago, yeah. So the previous years should have had some in it too. You have a final on last year's? I think when we-
Not handy.
Yeah. Probably when we were doing that budget was when we still didn't know much of the numbers. Back then, we probably didn't even know it was happening.
Is that just automatically deposited somehow? I
It
mean,
goes to the
what-
state and back here.
goes to
Yep.
the states and then, okay.
Department of Revenue puts it in one of our accounts.
So if somebody in Forest City orders something online, the local option sales tax comes back to Forest City, right? But if they order out in the country,
Don't know that
then
answer.
it comes back to us.
You would think that whatever your zip code is where it would go.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, my zip code's Leland, but it's not gonna go to Leland.
yeah.
But we, drastically expanded
But
our
if it's a
chances
zip code
for
in
revenue.
Well, some zip codes are not necessarily, still like, there's people in Minnesota that up on the border there that have Rake's address.
That's good. There's some in Emmons too, that have Iowa.
Is that right?
But they're on the south side. They have Emmons, yeah.
Why, when you go up to Emmons, right before you get to Emmons, if there's a sign that says Worth County?
Because the county line is on that north-south road and you're going at an angle.
So you.
That's Apple Avenue that goes south there where that intersection is.
Okay,
Because you're going at a northeast angle, and the road comes up here. Just after that is Worth County, right before you get to town.
okay.
You just got the corner of it.
Hmm?
You just got the
Yeah,
corner of the
you
tip.
have a quarter of a mile of Worth County.
Yeah,
as you
yeah, you
get
just
into
got the tip
so-
of it, yeah.
Okay. Cause the road's
Yeah, they
not
just,
straight.
they just put that sign up too.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I
That's
wonder why.
why I was,
Why would they spend the money?
Oh, let's go to the casino.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so is that it for discussions?
I think so.
Well, then I guess we stand adjourned.
No, no, no.
Oh, wait a minute.
Participants muted.
That thing really doesn't like me. We gotta finish this.
Oh, I thought we did.
No,
What do we have left?
Bill was gonna call somebody.
Oh, he's doing it now, okay. He did not stand adjourned.
Oh, Melissa? This is Bill Johnsvold, how are you?
Next meetings.
Oh, I don't know, just snooping around, finding people's phone numbers.
You have the public health on Friday
So, yeah, and now that I have yours,
Friday the 15th.
yeah.
at 8 or what is it, 8
Um,
o'clock or whatever.
We're in the supervisor meeting here and we're going through all the
Okay, so just count on next Friday as your.
committees and
public
stuff, and
that's
did you guys
where,
find someone to replace,
health. County
in
public health, yeah.
Okay.
Well, where we went and counted,
Bennett,
that's
Kwame?
where they have.
Yeah, I ended up back there after we were done.
Yeah.
counting for that.
Okay, he is.
She wanted some information, but that's at 8 again?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
alright.
better find out from her.
Usually there's a,
Okay,
Agenda
all right, we'll
board
put him
or
down
something.
then.
Yeah. I'm guessing she'll be sending that out.
All right, thank you for your support. All right,
And
yeah,
then the 18th.
yeah, have a good day. Bye.
Right. Like I have. Oh, you've got.
Tom
are you
Ballmans.
that's who they're gonna use?
Are you going to Farm Bureau? Are you going to Farm Bureau?
The Zoom, I'm not going, but I'll
Okay,
Zoom.
but you'll be
Yeah.
attending, okay.
Okay.
You going in person or? Yeah. I can't
This
be there.
Wednesday,
I
yeah,
have
you-
Wentworth Vetco Advisory Board meeting that night. So like tomorrow I have the Regional Emergency Management Committee, Regional Emergency Management Board, then I have the Transportation Policy, and then I have the Vetco.
Nancy
I'm
Moffett
going to
said.
Mason City.
I don't
back to
think
that.
I have her cell phone, I call the
It's
bank,
not a lot of waste.
Okay,
I have the bank's number in there. Just go look. All right. Hit the right button with your club thumb here.
So then, again, on Monday and Tuesday though, I've got
All
it,
day.
and they're at, Monday is at, where is it? Gee,
Monday's here. We're
Monday's
just
here.
meeting with each department head, one at a time.
Okay,
The thing at TSB is the end of the month. I don't, did you get that notice from Sue?
Mhm.
She's planning on the conference board,
oh,
meeting at TSB just to have the space.
and what's the date?
Yeah, is
She was
Nancy
talking
Knuckles there?
the last Tuesday of the month.
26th,
Yeah. Like at 11:30.
and that's at TSB.
That way, we'll offer Zoom for the people that want to participate that way, if others would rather be here in person and still have space. We don't have the space here.
Yeah, you ought to just have her call Bill
Are you
Johnsvold.
getting any notices on your, received on your, I'm trying to remember.
Okay, all right.
Juvenile detention, have you seen anything from juvenile detention yet? Maybe I'll have to.
Nancy, this is Bill
Mike got anything
Johnsvold.
from them,
You
'cause
want
I'm
to give me a
back
call
on
back?
this.
Oh,
I was gonna see if you wanted to replace Elroy Schlake on the,
Eminent domain.
eminent domain board.
we needed that.
Now that I got that spit out, if you give me a call back as soon as possible. Thank you, bye.
Oh, it's just a message.
Oh, no, it wasn't her at least. If it had been her, I would have, said, Nancy, buddy, old pal. That's what Carol Van Holborg used to say when he was, wanted you to help him with something. He called you buddy old pal.
Yeah, like NICAO, I don't know how often they meet, if it's quarterly or.
They just emailed me. Okay.
Yeah, we should have called earlier. She went to lunch.
I'm just having a hard time with calendars, so
Oh, yeah.
if there's something that I'm supposed to be at,
Okay,
let me know until I get into some type of a routine here. I'm not having trouble with it, but I'm like, oh my gosh, last minute
oh,
Zoom, NICOG, you know.
did they do only Zoom then?
No, calling also.
Oh, they didn't.
And
have
they were,
any-
no, there was people there too.
Okay. There are some people who do not like call in or,
Yeah. Has the meeting ended?
Not officially.
okay, so are we ready to table that till the next meeting, till we get the last, or do you wanna?
Can we approve all of it except that one thing
Okay,
so that we can, so I can send it out, because I've
so
got
it's
people
just one
asking.
eminent domain remaining, right? Elrice Lakes eminent domain that we have left. Oh, no, you still have, we got this, yeah, we got
Well, the
the,
trustee is gonna be Tom Balllands.
okay, so that'll be,
And, I'm guessing she'll do it.
well, we'll just hold off and do that single appointment later. Okay, so I guess I would entertain a motion to approve the committee and board appointments as indicated by our lists and discussions, except for the eminent domain remaining to replace Elbridge.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Or no.
I said entertain.
Oh, you said entertain.
I was trying to get the wording in there so you know what I was. I'll make it a motion.
All right, then I'll second it.
On a motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold to approve the board appointments, all except for the remaining eminent domain position. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Now we stand adjourned, no matter what you say.